by learning how to make something from his childhood. The kitchen was crowded with girls and young women. The center pine table had been cleared and covered with wax paper, rolling pins, and large bowls of dough and chopped apples. Sadie's face lit up when she saw me. She ran over to give me a hug around the hips. The others all said hello. Sadie's older sisters, Ruth and Winetta, who still lived at home, were there, as was Miriam, who was grown now and had children of her own. There were two young women I didn't know. Before I could introduce myself, my dark pantsuit was covered by an apron, and I was clutching a rolling pin. On guard. I bit my lip and refrained from saying it. They wouldn't find it funny. The sheer volume of strudel they were preparing came as no surprise by now. I'd seen Hannah cook before. Not only did the Yoders have a large family, but they always made extra, either to freeze or to share with the community at some get-together or other. And the two young women I hadn't met before had probably come over to make batches for their own households. Cooking in a group made things a lot more fun. We rolled out the dough, cut it into large square sheets, sprinkled on a sugar-cinnamon mixture, added raisins and nuts to some and not to others, and layered on small slices of apple before rolling them up and brushing the tops with melted butter and powdered sugar. The bushels of last fall's apples were from cold storage, according to Hannah. Those that hadn't been eaten over the winter had to be used up before they went bad. They were a tough-skinned green variety, and they were pared and chopped in an endless assembly line. And while trays of rolled strudels sat and rose in the warm kitchen, more and more and more were made. It was a repetitive task that soothed me after a long week of work. This past week I'd investigated a man who'd killed his wife accidentally during a heated argument, a Jane Doe found near the highway, and a baby whose supposed crib death, I suspected, was really abuse. It all melted away under the steady motions and the pleasant singing in complicated-sounding German words. I couldn't contribute much to the singing or the conversation. With the older Amish, most of my life was topic non grata. I was living in sin with Ezra Byler, who was, in any case, an Amish man who'd taken the church vows and then left the Amish, and was therefore shunned. And my work as a homicide detective wasn't something Hannah cared to have her girls learn much about, even if she did respect it. But Sadie, as usual, had a million nonsensical questions for me like, "Do you like grass?" and "Do you have red birds at your house?" The last strudels were rolled. A few of the dough logs were stuffed into the warm oven, but most were wrapped in cling film for later baking. Hannah's guests left with cheerful goodbyes and boxes bursting with strudel. Sadie opened her birthday present, thanked me for the "most wonderfulest gift," and ran off with Ruth and Winetta to play the game before supper. I washed the dough off my hands at the sink. The window above the basin overlooked the fields outside. The sun was sinking, and I saw Hannah's husband, Isaac, and two of her boys heading home on a plow pulled by two horses. It was getting late. Time to let Hannah get to their evening meal. Besides, the sight made me long sharply for Ezra, who would be ending his own day about now. "Thank you for allowing me to stay," I told Hannah. This was just what I needed to relax. Hannah was placing two wrapped, unbaked strudels into a bag for me to take home. She paused, an odd look on her face, like she wanted to say something but wasn't sure if she should. "What is it?" I asked. Hannah looked troubled. "I meant to speak to you. It is about a bad business." "Of course." I stepped closer to Hannah and leaned against a counter, making it clear I was happy to listen. Hannah sighed. "There is some trouble lately among the people in our church. Now a boy has died." "Trouble? What kind of trouble?" "My friend Leah Hirschberger, her whole family is sick. They called in a doctor, and he said it was the flu, but there has never been such a flu. So sick they were, and her son William, only 14 and strong before now. He died from it." "I'm sorry, Hannah." It was disturbing. There'd been
To keep listening to this audiobook, I've left you a link in the description so you can do it, at no cost thanks to Audible's 30-day free trial.